Okay, this is Steve Bacon from StephenBacon.com. This is my second podcast that I'm putting together. This is what I'm going to do on dog food. Um, Dog food. Many brands out there. Many choices. The things with dog food, you can buy a cheap dog food. Or you can buy a better, more expensive dog food. It all depends on, how much you love your dog. The ingredients is really what it comes down to when it comes to dog food. The better dog foods will have the human grade food input into it. It will have the better ingredients. It won't have fillers. It won't have dyes. It won't have artificial flavors or artificial preservatives. Now, a couple ways to look at dog food when it comes to feeding your pet. First thing you have to realize is, does your dog have any type of allergies? There's two types of allergies. There's internal and there's external. External allergies you can't control. For example, grass, mold, anything external like that. The only way is to keep them away from it. For example, my parents has a beagle. His name's Hunter. He's about 13, 14 years old now. He is allergic to everything externally. He's allergic to grass, to mold, to leaves. So the only way they can control that is their patio out back. Instead of it leading into grass for him to go to the bathroom, they actually had to put down a gravel patio for him to go into. And that's the only way they control it. He still is on medicine. In the spring, the pollen, he gets really itchy and scratchy when it comes to pollen. So he's on medicine in the spring. And the other is internal. That's where you can control it. For example, dogs can be allergic to chicken. They can be allergic to grains. I personally have a dog. He's 12 years old now. His name is Thor. Thor is my therapy dog, retired. I retired him January 1 of 2018. For 9 years, I took him to the Canton City School in Canton, Ohio, and I took him 3 times a week on my lunch hour. I gave up my lunch hour for me to go take him to see the kids. Every Thursday and Friday and Tuesdays, we would go to a couple local schools, and we had the kids read to him. For the kids that had problems reading, had some concerns by the teachers, signed them up for the program, and I saw anywhere from 6 to 12 kids per hour on my lunch hour. And they just sat there and read to him. And I sat there and just listened. I was there just for support. I was there for any time the kids needed help on a word, help them sound it out, help them tell the meaning. And that's basically all I did. I sat there and read to Thor. Now Thor, we retired him on January 1. Reason being is I'm gonna guess he probably has arthritis. He's having problems getting up and down stairs, getting out of bed in the morning. So we have to help him a little bit. He's not whining or I'd use the human quality of complaining yet. So we're still kind of holding out with him and seeing how he does. But he's allergic to chicken ever since about 6 months old. We've had him figured out that he was allergic to chicken. A good friend of mine, funny story, tried to figure out what was wrong with this puppy. His hair was falling out, he was itching, he was scratching, and 12 years ago we didn't know anything about this. And so I started changing his foods, went from one food to another, and went through about 9 different foods, and just couldn't figure out what the problem was. Nothing was curing his ailments. And I have a friend who works as a dispatcher for a police department, and she was on the internet helping me out. She'd be on the internet at night while she was dispatching, in between calls. And she called me about midnight one night and said, "Steve, I think I figured it out." And I answered the phone, half asleep, of course, and said, "Who is this?" And she said, "Stephanie." I went, "Stephanie who?" She goes, "It's Stephanie." I went, "Oh, why are you calling me at midnight?" She says, "I've got your answer. Your dog is allergic to chicken. I've been checking all the foods you've been feeding, and the one common denominator between all of them you've been feeding is chicken." So the next day I found a company that has 0 chicken in one of their lines of food. And within 2 weeks, his hair started growing back. He had no itching, no scratching, and he was one happy puppy. So he's been on that food now for, 12 and a half years? And that is probably the best thing that I've ever done for a dog. Now, what can you do? Well, you keep an eye on your dogs. If they start licking, scratching, breaking out, redness, they lick their paws a lot, then there is probably some type of allergy going on there, and it's probably internal. I'm not a vet, so I'm not, diagnosing any dog out there, but I've been around a lot of dogs. And the one denominator seems to be is some type of allergy, whether it be a protein or whether it be a grain allergy. So the best thing for you to do is find a dog food that has no grains in it, and if you can, find a product that has no chicken in it, and start there. You'll feed the dog approximately 2 to 3 weeks on that particular brand and see how it goes. If it starts to alleviate the problem, hey, you've got a winner. If nothing changes and he or she is still having a problem, well, it's time to then change proteins. So whatever protein you chose, like say, for example, salmon, for that particular dog food, switch it up to like lamb, and then keep them on lamb, no grain, for a couple weeks and see how he or she does with that. And if that's the case, well, you found out what he's allergic to. He's allergic to fish. So from there, you know what to feed your dog for the rest of his or her life. The other thing is the size of your dog. Do you have a small dog? Do you have an average sized dog? Do you have a large breed dog? Do you have a senior dog? Do you have a puppy? All these things go into consideration for what kind of food you feed. So for example, let's start out with puppies. Puppies need a high calorie and a lot of vitamins and minerals in their food. So you definitely want to feed puppy food. You'll feed puppy food for approximately 1 year, give or take. Again, I'm throwing in there, I'm not a vet. But I took my 2 chocolate labs off of puppy food at about 11 months because they stopped growing up and they started growing out, as in getting fatter. And that's because of the high calorie count. So 11 months, I started switching them over into the adult food, which is a lower calorie food, and vitamins, minerals, specifically for the adult-sized dog. You'll keep them on that food for approximately, now with adult dog food, you'll keep them on adult dog food line for approximately 10 to 12 years. At that 10 to 12 years age, I consider that a senior dog. What happens with senior dogs, for the most part, is they become, I hate to use this term, but it's the easiest way to associate what they're doing from where they've been. They become couch potatoes, laying around and enjoying their senior years, not as energetic as they were as puppies, not running around the living room and chasing their tail, or running around and chasing the cat, or when you throw a ball, they're just, you go chase it. That's what I call the senior dogs. They're enjoyable. You love them to death because, they become that mellowed out dog that you always wanted, but in the early years they never were. So when they become seniors, you want to change your diet again. You want a senior line of food, which is a lower calorie than the adult line of food. Reason being is that they are not as active, so they're not needing as much calories. They're not burning as much calories, just like adults. As we get older, we don't need as much food because normally normal adults slow down in their old age. They don't need as much calories intake because they're not burning as much calories per day. Also, the senior line of dog foods might add some chondroitin and glucosamine. This helps their joints and hips and waists, allows them to be more maneuverability and feel much better. So that would be your senior line. Now, there's a dog food that is in between the two, in between your adult line and your senior line, and it is called large breed. Large breed dog food is for dogs that are, of course, the larger breeds. You know, for example, your German Shepherds are large breed. Your Wolfhounds are large breed. Your any dog that's going to be in that 100 to or more weight-wise. Your Mastiffs are going to be your large breed. But those are some of the dogs that are needing different type of food, meaning that the kernels are usually larger for the larger mouths. They have more vitamins and minerals, specifically for the large breed line, to help in their growth of their bones, and also to keep their hips and joints, lubricated and well. But that would be the large breed line. Now, one I did skip over is the small breed. Now, I do have a small breed mini dachshund. He's approximately 10 pounds, along with my 2 chocolate labs who run about 75 to 80 pounds. And I also have a Weimaraner who's also around that 65 to 75 pounds. I feed all of them the adult line of food. The mini dachshund could eat what's called the small breed line. Small breed lines of dog foods are usually a smaller kernel, and they usually have bonus vitamins and minerals to fit the needs of the smaller dogs, because their legs are, they're running twice as fast as the large breeds, covering the same amount of space, so they are burning a little extra energy. But because I have so many dogs, the food I feed is an adult line food. It is a smaller kernel, so it is good, and the mini dachshund handles it fine, and the large breed dogs digest it quite well. But that is your types of dogs that you must consider when you're feeding. There's a lot of dog foods out there that are good. There are a lot of dog foods out there that aren't so good. Check the ingredients. Just like you do when you're shopping in the grocery store and you're wondering what is in this product that you're buying, check the label. The cool thing about dog food is that everything is listed in the ingredients from the most to the least. So when you're looking at a bag of food and you see where meat is the number 1, 2, and or 3 in line, that's going to be a good food. That's going to be what's called a meat-based food. If you look at the ingredients and the first ingredient is corn, which a lot of the inexpensive lines are, what they're doing is they're using that as an inexpensive filler, and not giving you what the dog really needs. As we all know, dogs are canines. They are carnivores. They are meat eaters, just like your cats, just like your wolves, which of course is what scientists say the dog breed has come from, is the domesticated wolves. Over the years and years and years of breeding. So if they are wolf-based, wolves eat meat. That's what they do. They hunt. So that's what you want your dog food to be real close to, is a meat-based food. They're not cows, horses, or pigs, which all of them are grain eaters. So why would you feed a dog, corn? Leave that to the horses and pigs. Of course, you wouldn't feed a horse or cow, a steak, because we know that they're not meat eaters. We know they're grain eaters. So I don't know why people confuse that with dogs. Dogs are not grain eaters. Now, some companies do use some grains as a binder, is what I call. It's cooking 101. Something has to keep those kernels, together. So some companies will use a brown rice, which is a good grain. Humans can digest it well. Dogs can digest it well. So they will use that as the binder. Cooking 101. Now, one thing that I do note is that when you are feeding a corn-based food, you'll notice that I hate to throw this out there, but bluntly, is the dogs will go to the bathroom a lot when they use a corn-based food. Reason being is it goes straight through them. There's nothing there for their bodies to absorb. And the example of that would be like a human when we eat corn on the cob in the summertime. I know, but you go to the bathroom the next day, and what do you see mostly in the bathroom is you see a lot of corn. That's because bodies don't digest it very well. It just passes through us. And that's the same thing with dogs. The corn-based food will just pass straight through them because there's nothing there for them to absorb. When you go to a meat-based food, the dogs, you'll find, absorb most of the nutrients, and you'll find that they don't go to the bathroom as much. And when they do go to the bathroom, it's very little. So your yard cleanups become a bonus. The kids don't have to clean up as much. So that, in a nutshell, is Dog Food 101. Appreciate you listening, and check out my YouTube channel. Check out my Instagram, Stephen C. Bacon, or Twitter, Stephen C. Bacon. And we appreciate it, and hope you liked it. You have a wonderful day.